This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
I would like to share a remarkable insight of Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshutz, why the Satan only has control over 364 days a year, but not over Yom HaKippurim. The Gemara Darshans in Masechta Yuma and Daf Chaf, Ha Satan is Gematria 364. The Satan only rules 364 days. He does not have control over the 365th. Why not? Why doesn't he control Yom Kippur? What is different about Yom Kippur that the Satan has no shlita over this day? The Medrash Shocher Tov tells us, Hashem oiri v'yishi. Hashem is my light and my salvation. Oiri b'Rosh Hashanah, yishi b'Yom HaKippurim. He's my light on Rosh Hashanah, my salvation on Yom Kippur. Why is Rosh Hashanah referred to as light? Why is Yom HaKippurim called salvation? What is the connection between Rosh Hashanah being considered light and Yom HaKippurim being considered salvation? Furthermore, why does the Torah sometimes say to fast on the 9th? The Torah says, and sometimes it says to fast on the 10th. The Gemara in Beya on Daf Hey tells us that Rosh Hashanah is Yoma Arichta, one long day. Why is it considered one long day? Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshutz says something absolutely astounding. The Medrash tells us that the light of creation, the Or Hagonos, that illuminated on Friday, it did not set on Friday night, but the light continued to illuminate for 36 hours consecutively. And therefore, the very first Rosh Hashanah in history, which was a Friday, continued on into Shabbos as one long day. The reason why Rosh Hashanah is considered one long day is because it was one long day, the very first year. Now, the 9th day of the month of that solar year was the 10th day of the month of the lunar year. So in other words, the first day was Rosh Hashanah, was a Friday. 10 days later in the lunar calendar was Yom Kippur, but it was 9 days later in the solar calendar. And therefore the Torah calls it sometimes the 9th. It's not the 9th, it's the 10th of the month. But in terms of sunrise, sunset, it's the 9th. Now, when God gave the Satan the job, he said, this year you control every day. But that year there were only 364 days. The second day of the year, which was part of the first day, God reserved that it should be saved as Yom HaKippurim. And Yom Kippur is the 365th day of the year that did not exist in year one when God gave the Satan Shlita. He never gave him of the Shlita over the 365th day of the year. So because Hashem Oiri, because God was my light on Rosh Hashanah, where the light illuminated for 36 hours straight, that's why we have the salvation of Yom HaKippurim, that the Satan has no Shlita, because the sun shone for 36 hours straight. Therefore, the Satan had no control over Yom HaKippurim, and that day was a day of great salvation for Klal Yisrael. So, this is a special exemption God carved out. He made sure never to give the Satan anything of the great day of Yom HaKippurim, because that day did not exist. The 365th day of the calendar did not exist back at that time in history. Wishing everyone a Gemar Chasima Toiva, a good Geben Shiur. May we be Zeicha to Slicha, Mechila, and Kapara, Lanu Ulachal Yisrael. Amen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.